Don't know if you can hear it, but it sounds like there is an army of something, rodents or something, up in the ductwork of the hood of the kitchen. I was standing in here warming up some pizza and I heard it, which is kind of alarming. And as I was listening to the sound, I said, boy, that sounds like a whole bunch of little paws or little feet working right there. And I was wondering about what it was, and I was thinking about how gross it would be if that were rodents or something up there. And so basically I was sitting here inside the kitchen underneath this hood, and I had these questions, and I had these wonders, and I had these doubts, I had these needs, and I had to figure out what it was. So I decided to do the obvious, and I decided to come over here to the door and unlock the door and walk outside. A beautiful day, but a nice breeze. And then I turn around and I look up, and there's the piping. And what do we see against the piping? It's a tree branch. So every time that tree branch gets blown by the wind, it rubs against that piping coming off the hood there in the kitchen, and it makes the sound of feet shuffling in the ductwork. And so when I was inside the church thinking that we had rats in the ductwork and making all of those assumptions about how gross that was and everything, the real problem was just the wind blowing a tree around, rubbing against the ductwork on the outside, making the same noise. There's a big difference between rats in the ductwork and a tree being blown in the ductwork. But we do that, don't we? We will hear something or we'll think something and we'll just make an assumption, and before we know it, we run with it, and we never verify it. We never take a look to say, is it true or not, or could it be something else? Because many times the very thing that is bugging us the most, or the very thing that we're struggling with, might be explained in some other way, might be explained in some simpler way. It might not be rats in the ductwork. It might just be a tree rubbing against the panels on the outside. But we do that, don't we? We'll jump to conclusions so many times in so many ways with so many things. And then we run off all half-cocked and we act in a certain way without really getting all the information. And we do that for long enough, pretty soon we believe that the incorrect information that we have is the truth. And the next thing you know, we're reacting to something that's not true as if it was the truth. And we base everything that we do, and we base everything that we say based on an untruth. We make decisions based on an untruth. We spend our money based on an untruth. We start to do things that we wouldn't normally do if we didn't have that untruth at the foundation of it. And that's kind of where we are so many times in life. So many times we just make an assumption about the sounds that we hear or the things that we experience, and we just naturally assume that it's rats in the ductwork when it really is only a tree branch being blown by the wind outside. Two totally different things, two totally different problems. One's very easy to fix, the other one's kind of gross. But we do that so many times in life. We will operate off of an assumption based on an untruth. Why do we do that? We do that deep down because we need something. We do that because deep down we have a need, and for whatever reason, that assumption fills the need. We feel the need to say, this place is gross, so we've got to have rats in the ductwork. We feel the need to say, oh, we got to sell this place, so we have to have rats in the ductwork. We feel the need to, whatever the case may be, we have this need that we fill with the assumption that we make. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Now, it's not a problem that we have a need, because each and every single one of us has a need, has many needs. But we've got to make sure that we're coming to the conclusion, or we're coming to assumptions, or we're coming to understandings based on truth, not based on what we think. That we do the due diligence to look into everything to find out where the sound's coming from, to find out what's happening. Why is that person reacting the way that they're reacting? Why is that person treating me the way that they're treating me? Why is this happening? And we just might find that there's a very logical explanation, but it wasn't what we originally thought. And so this week, as we celebrate our Hot Fudge Sunday, I just encourage you to don't assume, because you know what assuming does. It makes an ass out of you and me, and none of us wants to be an ass. So don't assume. Do the due diligence. Do your work. Find out why that person is doing what they're doing. Find out why that person is thinking what they're thinking. Find out why that situation is happening. And then make your evaluation based on that. Just don't go off all half-cocked on an assumption, thinking that they're rats in the ductwork, when really it's nothing but the wind blowing on some tree branches. Now, so I hope this week has a great you, and you don't assume this week, that you do your due diligence and find out, do the work necessary and find out the facts. Until next week, we'll see you later.